Hello and welcome to Fix My City. My name is Leslie Moore. This is Cycle Online. The program focuses on issues that have to do with the city of Bulawayo. And in this week's program, we focus on the Bulawayo City Council parking system. There has been a new development, and we've invited into the program the Bulawayo City Council parking system project manager, Mr. Vusisizwe Sibanda, as well as Mr. Dumiso Ndlovu, who's the Bulawayo City Council acting senior security and traffic officer, as well as the Tendy Tree Investments chairman, that is Mr. Lizwe Mabuza. Thank you and welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And we'll also be joined by Ms. Caroline Leah, who's the TTI Corporate Affairs Manager, to speak to issues around concerns that maybe their clients have raised in the past. So as we begin the program, we want to have a review of how the parking system has been operating. And Mr. Asbanda, maybe you can just give us a brief update in terms of how the system has been operating since you launched it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leslie. Our viewers, welcome. We're glad to come to you today. The parking management system that we introduced has now worked for over a year now, and we are glad that we have been with you all the way. What I want to say is that when we began with about 300 bays, and now we're now at 5,200 bays. We have not reached the maximum. Probably we're at half the bays that we are going to be under this parking management. And I also want to say that from the time we began, there are several changes that we have made to the package in response to the issues that were being raised by the public. First of all, you remember when we began, we had zones that we did away with. We had a 30-minute zone, 1 hour zone, and a 2 hour zone, and we remained with 1 hour zone for the rest of the city in response to the public. And later on, the public requested that we should have, they should be able to transfer their money if they've paid, and we were able in November, sometime in November, October, November, to launch that fully after we had started launching it in August. The initial stage was in August. So we've transformed the parking management system to respond to the citizens. I can also indicate to you that the initial package, that system that we started with, we had to change it along the way so that we could accommodate issues that were coming up, and the ones that were coming up included the ones that I've touched on, and also it included people wanting to pay upfront in bulk. So you discover that we're continuously evolving the system to cater for those issues. And today, as we will speak going forward, you'll be able to realize that we have introduced new features into the parking management. Let me also say that the parking management from the time we started has made us to be able to look at some of the streets that were neglected per se, and we've managed to rehabilitate to a certain extent the roads so that we could put the parking bays, and that has actually made some of the places to be better than what they were. You'll agree with me that because we've not fully reached the capacity, also it means that our collections are not up to the max that we can have, so that the public can have great impact that they see from the parking funds. But you realize that we have been able to clean the streets, do the patchings and the markings where the parking system is. And we hope that as we move in this second year, we should see greater things coming aboard. In a nutshell, this is where we are up to date.
I think a marriage is always made up of two partners. So maybe I'll find out from Mr. Mavuza, who's also a partner in the City Council, in terms of the project so far from your own end. How has the project come up so far?
Thank you, Leslie, and thank you to the viewers also. I think he has basically covered pretty much, the journey. It's been a journey with changes. It didn't happen as per the original plan, but as you are on the ground, there's dynamics on the ground which you need to respond to. So he's touching on pretty much most of those dynamics. It's all in an effort to try and customize the system and give the clientele that which they want. But he has mentioned that we are on about 5,000 parking pay. That's where we are. And we are hoping that we are going to push on and achieve more. But he's basically covered the entire journey, yes.
As the implementing partner in terms of the technology side, any challenges that you've faced in terms of the technology that you've introduced?
There's been challenges. For example, he's talking of the clientele wanting to be able to transfer their parking time from one bay to another. So the system we had, it was rigid in the sense that you must pay $1. If you don't exhaust your dollar and move on to the next parking bay, you ought to pay another $1 again. So we had to change the system to say, allow the people to park anywhere they want within that $1, So that's one of the changes. But the main change which is facing the country as a whole is a network problem. We've got network challenges. This has entailed that we need to have a system which you call an offline version of the system. But that one comes with its own challenges as well. Remember, if we are offline, you are not reading live from your database. So someone can pay here. The transaction is localized on my device. If you don't show your receipt on the next guy that I paid is still within my 1 hour, I'll not see that you have paid. So you'll find people complaining and think that is a system thing, but no, you're actually offline. That's why maybe Caroline will touch on it to say, we need to educate the people to say, if you come to me and I'm offline, you make a payment for your parking, your transaction is on my gadget, the other marshal cannot see that transaction. So that is on the system side. Not to say the system is defective or whatsoever, no, it's not. But the crux of the matter is the project manager, before we had on offline, I think one day he came screaming to our offices to say, you guys haven't deployed, it's 10 o'clock now, what's happening? That day there was no network, you see what I'm saying? That forced us to say, network or no network, you must be able to work. So we came up with an offline system, but now offline system is not a point of sale system. The point of sale is our bank gadgets, which you get from the banks, NMB, Netbank, and them who are giving us those gadgets. Once we offline, they're also offline. So which poses challenges also to the clients to say, how do they pay? If you cannot swipe your card because the network is down, you can't do an echo cash, the network is down, it causes people to have debts on the system, which are not necessarily caused by us refusing to take payment, but because we are sort of, offline. We have tried to engage some financial services experts as well. They've given us something which they call Zip It Smart. It uses a USSD code whereby if we are offline, if there's small little network which can't send data, but you can actually dial and get a prompt on your phone to get your card debited in so that you can actually pay. But also when there's no network at times, we struggle with that as well. You'll find that there's instances whereby we've got 20 or 30% downward spiral on our revenue solely because there was no network. So it's a challenge which we just have to try and live with. I'm sure you saw last week Econet coming in with an apology to say they apologize, they are aware that the network was not working. It was a terrible week for us because, the network was down. But apart from that, I won't call them challenges. As you're working with a system, you re-engineer along the way. Some of the things you're picking from your marshals, some of the things you're picking from what the clients are saying. He's talking of packages right now. Our system was never meant to have packages. But now that our clients are saying, guys, we've got people who are working in town, it's kind of exorbitant for them to be paying for the entire 9 hours because we're operating from 8 to 5. What can you do to accommodate those? He's going to come and talk about what benefit those packages have come up with. So that entails customization of the system for you to be able to actually cater for those people who will be spending that much of time in town and also giving them that kind of discount. So I think, basically I won't call them challenges. I'll say it's part and parcel of the business. It has to be like that, and we have to respond accordingly.
Maybe coming to you, Mr. Ndlovu, I think one of the concerns that council had before the launch of the system was that, there was congestion happening in the city center, and you said that the system was going to improve even the flow of traffic. Maybe you can speak to that to say, has that improved from this perspective of council in terms of how you manage the parking in the city center?
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Leslie. Thank you, viewers. Let's talk of the parking management aspect together with the enforcement side. We are on course of realizing our dream. We used to have a lot of people coming to town as early as possible, leaving their cars in town in various parking bays, maybe let me say at strategic parking bays, say outside the likes of Central Police, nearer to banks, Revenue Hall, the Southampton Bay, a number of buildings, including nearer to supermarkets, where they felt that their cars will be secure. Someone would come as early as 5, leave his car, cross the border to Botswana. Someone to Plumtree, talk of Kwanda, talk to Beach Messine, and so forth. And they come after hours. But then we've got people who would like to come and use those parking bays for their convenience. We're saying parking has to be exchanged. So the program has actually brought that convenience to the members of the public. Everyone is now able to use all the bays right around the city. Then from an enforcement perspective, we used to have a lot of these young guys washing cars everywhere, causing dirty, causing nuisance, sweeping, cleaning of the cars, leaving dirt and garbage, on our streets and so forth. But now they can't, because each and every bay is manned by a parking marshal. Then we again back from vehicles. There were a lot of guys, coming to do their thieving business in town, but they can't now. People's vehicles are secure. Literally, if you are paying me $1 for a particular parking time, sort of a contract, that parking marshal in that particular precinct is looking after those cars. So who will come and do anything that is not supposed to be done? No one. So we are happy of the parking management package, in as much as we haven't rolled it out fully. But in terms of what we expected to derive from it, we are on course.
If you're just joining us, this is Fix My City on Asaka Online. My name is Leslie Moore. In this week's program, we are discussing the Bulawayo City Council's parking management system, and we have invited into the studio officials from the Bulawayo City Council as well as Tendy Investments, who are the implementing partner in this project. And they are here also to give us an update in terms of how the system is working. They have introduced new features, which I think as motorists in Bulawayo will be keen to follow and understand, so that we are able to implement them well. And as we continue with the program, let me come back to you, Mr. Asbanda. I think we have been speaking about the challenges that you have faced, but I think there are certain concerns that keep coming up from motorists who are utilizing the service. I think also you spoke about how you have managed to respond to some of the concerns and you have adjusted your system. But I think there's still that issue of someone wants to park, they park their car, maybe they can't find a parking marshal nearby, and then they leave to do their business. Maybe they come back, they find their vehicle claimed. Maybe you can explain to us what can be done in such a situation, especially for people who are in a hurry and want to do certain business in town?
Thank you. I'm glad you asked that question. I think I should have also included some of that on the preamble. One of the things that we have had to do, the bylaw speaks that it's a prepaid parking. So one has to pay before they leave their car, according to the bylaw. However, we've noticed that because of these challenges that are the network and everything, it becomes difficult that one can be able to pay before they leave. Coming also beginning of June, we're already on trial run. We are introducing a system where we're saying for the first 5 hours, if you have not paid, you won't get claimed. It's only after 5 hours where you get claimed. This will also help those who usually forget that they forgot to pay. But if you see yourself not having have paid for 5 hours, you get claimed after that. So we're responding, and a lot of people were saying to us, why to claim me for $2 and I have to go and pay it now being $22? But I think I have accumulated a debt of about $5 now, it's a considerable debt to attract the penalty of not having have paid, which comes up to $20. You have your clamping fee at $10, and the charge also at $10 plus whatever you owe.
But then, Mr. Love, there's always an issue. People complain that maybe some of the roads are not marked, and so I just come and park, and then the next thing I am claimed. What do you have to say about that? Because I think there are certain portions of our streets where Mr. Span was speaking about how because they haven't fully launched the system, therefore the collections are still at they're not as what they expect it to be. But then there are those challenges that also people are facing where they park their vehicle and then they are claimed.
Thank you, Mr. Leslie. Wherever we have started collecting parking revenue, it's a must that one, the road surface itself is fixed. Number two, we are selling parking time. Selling parking time means we have to have demarcated and clearly marked parking bays, which are demarcated in white boundary lines, either broken or solid. These, I underline white boundary lines. If it's yellow, it means it's a different bay altogether. It's a different ball game altogether. Yellow, you might get it as a taxi bay, as a cyclist bay, as an offloading or loading bay, as an ambulance bay, etc. But then, by practice, we don't claim any vehicle wherever parking lines are not clear. And if an area or a portion of the road has demarcated parking bays, it shows that you definitely has to fit in that particular parking area, in that particular parking space. Then if you avoid now parking in those marked parking bays and park anywhere else, remember the road starts from the pavement. We come to where there are parking bays, and then we come to the thoroughfare itself. So that's all those portions are what constitute what? A road. And then there are some areas that are deliberately left not marked. If you realize where there is center parking, obviously there are vehicles on the other side of the road traveling some direction. What if someone decides to change the lane and the parking is full? So that person has to target a second intersection. Then there is always a space left for that person to turn. Then now you park your vehicle there. You have parked outside a defined area. We say it's not defined. If it's not defined, please don't park there. It's for a purpose. It leads elsewhere. It leads somewhere. It needs to bring some convenience to someone. So if you are parking there, now you are causing some obstruction. So automatically we have to clamp you. So you have to fit your vehicle inside a demarcated white boundary line marked parking bay. If it's yellow, as I've outlined, make sure you fit into that category. Save for those now who have got physical disabilities. One is driving and needs to go from point A to point B. We are saying for those, park as close to wherever you're going as possible. We allow you now to park, whether it's a taxi bay, it's a cycle bay, or something else. But you have to be displaying an invalid carriage certificate, which council gives you for free. You apply for that at top block, 4th floor, office 416. There are forms that we give you. You go to a medical practitioner, fills that form, you come back, you get that for free, and it's valid for a year. Come the next year, you get it renewed for free again. So, in short, that is what it means.
Then, Mr. Mabuza, the issue around clamping and unpaid tickets, there's always been a concern that if someone maybe doesn't pay, maybe for that particular day, maybe they say that their vehicle is claimed. Maybe explain to us how that system operates up to a level where someone gets their vehicle claimed.
Yes, the enforcement questions, they revolve around Undlov, but let me explain how the system works around that. So it's also part of the changes we have done. You'll find Uguti right now, when a vehicle parks, if I'm online, I'm able to print for you the time you're buying right now, and underneath there's a notice which says how much do you owe. That amount which you're owing is your previous debt where you haven't been paying. It can be in the past 1 month, it can be yesterday, it can be the day before yesterday, but the system will then pick up and say this car once parked and didn't pay. If you are a motorist and you are confused or it's not clear, you can ask for a detailed summary printout. They can then print out for you a summary as Chuguti. At Pick and Pay, Hyper, you parked for 5 minutes or for how many minutes? From there, you parked for another 1 hour, maybe at ZP Bank. It's a printout which shows you the specific parking bays where you did not pay. That you can get by the marshal. So those are part of the enhancements which have given also AMA motorists as well, whereby they can now see, as much as I'm paying for my time right now, what is it that I owe for my previous transactions as far as parking is concerned. So we have modified, instead of us clamping you for not paying parking for that specific day, you only attract clamping the following day. But now, after having sat down with council says there is habitual offenders whom you'll find owing $20, $15 or whatever. Those are the people who are always not wanting to pay. But you've got someone who's owing $1, someone who's owing $2, someone who's owing $3, and these people, they're parking frequently in town. So what does it mean? It means that they are paying most of the times, but there's a few instances where they're not paying. What kind of mechanism can we come up with that ensures that these people are not penalized for owing those small amounts of money? That's what we are working on right now to say, maybe let's say anyone who owes $5 and below, let those people not be claimed, but be encouraged to pay. Should you go beyond $5, those claiming guys are going to enforce and claim you. But the good thing about it, if you park right now and you don't pay, no one claims you for your offense of not paying for the very same day. You're only going to be liable for claiming only the following day, Nakona, if you are owing $5 and more. So once this is fully rolled out, we'll encourage motorists to ensure they pay as regularly as possible. Avoid to have $5 and above, otherwise you are going to be claimed. It's painful as a motorist as well. If I'm to be claimed for $2 and have to pay $20, we are not in a game of trying to make money. We are trying to conscientize people to say, guys, can we pay? Do not be penalized for $5 and have to pay $20? Why don't you pay and not reach a state whereby you are claimed? But the meeting has agreed to say, let's say going forward, anyone who owes $5 and below, exempt them from claiming. So you as a motorist, you need to ensure that you do not have $5 and above. Otherwise, you are going to be claimed. So that's basically how it's happening. But the good thing about our system, if you park and you don't pay, we're still going to print you a receipt that will show you that from this time, you are accumulating parking time, which is going against your number plate from, let's say, 10 minutes past 1 until the time you leave. The time you leave, the marshal will unpack you. If you accumulated 2 hours and you just go home, you should know that from 10 past 1 to 10 past 3, the time you left, you are now owing 2 hours. That 2 hours, when you come tomorrow and say, today I'm going to pay, you pay for your $1. It will remind that yesterday you consumed 2 hours and never paid for it, because that is coming as a notice in your what? In your receipt. So all those things are what we are trying to get the motorists. We are telling them of what they owe instead of us just claiming, because previously we'll just come and check on our system, he's owing, then we claim. But motorists are saying, you didn't show me what I owe. Right now, when you pay, you'll see what you owe. You can even get a breakdown. If you didn't pay, you are notified to say you are now attracting a escalator from this time to what time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mabuza. And still on the issue of clamping, Mr. Ndlovu, there are people who always complain and say, but I'm parked properly, I did not step on any line. Maybe they created an offense in another parking bay and then they moved their car and then it's claimed. Is there such a system where a vehicle can be claimed in any parking zone? And then also we've seen, I'm not sure whether we have encountered, we have seen videos of people actually removing the wheel that has been claimed, maybe to try and evade, paying the $20. In terms of fines, have you encountered that, and how much does someone who does that, because they've gone against a city bylaw, have to pay for that?
Thank you, seriously. Yeah, if you evade paying parking time, like it has already been alluded to, for more than 5 hours, those may be at different dates. Yesterday, a day before yesterday, whatsoever. And you go to a particular place now and park correctly. We now need to recover that parking time. Remember, our thrust is selling parking time. So we now need to recover that parking time that you did not pay for. But now, it comes with costs. Obviously, we have to claim that motor vehicle. And the claim being on its own attracts a fine. Like we're talking of $10 being claiming fee and other charges there too. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with finding your vehicle parked properly but having been claimed. And then coming to the people removing wheel claims. As per the dictates of SI 63 of 2015, it is an offense. It's actually criminal for you to remove a wheel claim. It attracts a fine. It's $50 actually to remove a wheel claim. And please be advised that you end up finding yourself at a police station. Because what's the intention of removing that wheel claim? In other words, you are stealing it. So if you can remove it, maybe you take away or take off with that wheel claim. A docket is open to that effect. And the statutory instrument is clear that you are liable for a sentence of up to 1 year or a fine of $50 or both a fine and that imprisonment term. So we advise motorists, please not to dare attempt to remove those wheel claims. It's as good as, motorists challenging the clamping of a vehicle. It's an offense. You have made a violation, allow the law to take its course. You park your car, say, by line of a parking bay, at a cycle bay, or you have accumulated some parking time, you park your vehicle, you go, you find out it has clamping your car. And there are people that will talk to you. and advise you exactly as to why they are clamping you. But then you find a few people fighting with those. You are now breaking the dictates of the law. Then that's when you find ourselves and you now at a police station.
Then there are people also park in driveways, or they just stop on the side of the road. Maybe they're dropping off a passenger or they're picking up a passenger. What does the law say about that? Because I think someone will be saying, I don't want to park in a parking bay because maybe I might be made to pay. So let me just stop by the side of the road, then put on my hazards, and then maybe I'm picking a passenger or I'm dropping off someone.
Thank you. Parking at a driveway is causing obstruction. We are using the sanitary lanes for delivering goods at shops and so forth. There are two scenarios. It's either there is a loading zone somewhere in the proximity of a stretch of a road that allows quite a number of business enterprises to utilize it. Or it's not there, but a sanitary lane is there. Mind, it's a sanitary lane. We also need, as a city, to collect garbage along that area, and someone comes and blocks that. That one attracts an offense of obstruction. And that one, I'm very sorry, our bylaw allows that we clamp a motor vehicle and give it 2 hours to clear the fines before we tow it away. But now, on that scenario, it's a straight away tow away. And then the issue of dropping passengers, we advise members of the public, we advise motorists not to stop anywhere other than to go straight into the bay. There are two issues. There is a difference between parking and stopping. Go straight into a bay, that's stopping, your engine is running, drop off the people that you are with, then you take off. There is absolutely no offense. And then parking now, it means getting into a bay, switching off your engine, and then now you have to pay for that parking time. So parking elsewhere, mind, there is also traffic that is supposed to utilize that place where you are parked. So definitely it will attract what? Clamping and towing. Whether you are stopping, now there's a difference. We are stopping where? At a thoroughfare. We have to what? Clamp and remove you from the road and fine you accordingly. Thank you.
If you're just joining us, this is Fix My City. My name is Leslie Moyo. We have in the studio officials from the Bulawayo City Council as well as TTI, and we're discussing the city's parking management system. We're now going to go for a short break. When we come back, we also speak to Ms. Caroline Lear on some of the concerns that their office has been receiving and some of the initiatives that they want to roll out. Welcome back to Fix My City on Asaka Online. My name is Leslie Moore. As I said before, we are joined by officials from the Bulawayo City Council and TTI. We are speaking about the city's parking management system. We are now joined by Ms. Caroline Lear, who is the Corporate Affairs Manager at TTI. And maybe she's going to highlight some of the concerns that their office have been receiving, as well as some of the initiatives that they want to launch in the future. Welcome to the program, Ms. Lear.
Thank you for having me.
I think let's go straight to the concerns that you usually handle, maybe on a daily basis. I know that you have a team of parking marshals who are operating in the streets. Maybe they receive or they handle complaints from the motorists. In some instances, maybe they're even harassed by some of the motorists. Maybe highlight to us how you're handling some of these issues.
The first thing to note is that a lot of times marshals are going through a lot of emotional distress, if I can put it that way, simply because the marshal arrives at the vehicle to collect the revenue of $1, and already the motorist is in a confrontational state, and it makes it difficult for them to operate in such a situation. But from our side, we always support them by training them on how to continue to serve those customers well. But some of the issues you find that excuse me, you find that some of the motorists become physically violent with marshals, enforcers as well. And in such situations, we do have to sometimes engage the local authorities for support. From an office point of view, we do try to make sure that motorists are aware of the fact that these are just young people trying to make a living, doing work that is necessary in the city, and also trying to enforce order within the city.
The other challenge, I think, is maybe around the issue of denominations, where maybe someone comes with a $50 note, $100 note in the morning, and they want to pay, and then they end up leaving without paying because maybe the issue of change. And then maybe later on they complain that I wanted to pay, but there was no change. How do you handle that?
You will find that there are situations that are reasonable, where it's 8 o'clock in the morning, someone has $2. Those kind of situations, the marshal hasn't worked. It's possible that $5, they don't have that much change. But you find someone who comes purposefully with a $20 or $50 note with the intention of not wanting to pay, to say, I don't have change. It's your duty to look for change for me. And in such situations, now that we have put in place a $5 cap, you find that we will be a little more relaxed in terms of forcing people, if I can say, to pay the dollar immediately, to also limit the amount of people who are hiding behind the issue of change. If you come to me with a $10 note with a $5 bill, I'm sure I can also try and assist you. But if you come to me with a $20 note for $1, it becomes difficult with the situation in the country for me as a marshal to find that change for you. So we also do have, different forms of payment. Of course, the network challenges make it difficult sometimes for us to transact that way, but those are put in place for those kind of situations where change is a problem.
Maybe coming to the safety of, obviously these are people that are handling hard cash. How safe are they in terms of the work that they do? You mentioned earlier some of them are young people, and there are people maybe who may target them because of their physical stature, and maybe because of their age. But as an office, what mechanisms are you putting in place to ensure that the marshals themselves are safe, as well as the resources that they carry is safe?
From a starting point, we don't give them float to say, because if at 8 o'clock you already know they're coming from revenue hall, this person has $20, they're already easy targets. So we are also trying to limit the amount of cash they have on hand. By the time the end of the day comes, they move around in groups, safety in numbers. So when they are going back to do their cash up, they're moving around based on their precincts. They go together. Even from the streets, it's not one person in an isolated area all by themselves. And then by the time it's also knock-off time, you still have our enforcement officers who are still operating. They are also part of keeping an eye on the situation.
I'll come back to you maybe to look at the initiatives that you want to launch. But let me maybe allow Mr. Ndlovu maybe to speak more on the issues of violations. I know earlier on we touched a bit about some of these young boys who clean cars. But maybe let's speak more on that in terms of the violations. What happens in case you come across a vehicle that is being washed on the street?
Thank you so much, Mr. Moyo. Right. Parking management is from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. That is the period when we are collecting parking time. During weekdays, Monday to Friday, and Saturday half day. Right? We don't collect on Sundays. We don't collect on public holidays. Right. When now it comes to violations, they extend beyond 8 and 5. You find us starting as early as possible and maybe knocking off as late as possible as well. Because now, if you are talking of vehicles being washed on the road, we definitely need to safeguard the lifetime of the road. You are using detergents to disintegrate the road. So that's why we find us clamping way before 8. Then we've got vehicles loading passengers at non-designated places. Whether it's before or during working time, we are on those violations. You also find commercial vehicles, those with the red and white plate, dropping off passengers at parking bays. So that is not allowed. They have to drop passengers at designated pickup points, in as much as they are supposed to pick them up at designated pickup points as well. You also find that there are vehicles like trucks that are not allowed to traverse the CBD. Like in the CBD, we only allow heavy vehicles to use Joshua and Kabongo. That is the only street. That is the only road that we allow them to use. And then we also have the aspect of commercial vehicles delivering cargo into the heart of the CBD. They have to break back at industry, then come into town with those rigid trucks. Save for some areas like TM Hyper, which has got a space. Yes, we allow them. But again, we emphasize that they use such facilities at off-peak hours. Because can you imagine an articulator coming into town on a busy day at 11? How do you share the road with these other motorists? You definitely can't. So the city is managed in that way so that at the end of the day, there is convenience to everyone. Thank you.
All right. Let me come back to you, Caroline, in terms of the initiatives. I know earlier on Mr. Mabuza spoke about how TTI is a learning organization in terms of always improving its services. Maybe in terms of initiatives, what are some of those initiatives that you are looking maybe into implementing in the near future?
Basically, I think one of the key issues would be information sharing. You find that a lot of people, while the information is out there, the SI 63 is a document that's readily available, but people don't have, I don't know if it's that they don't have the time or maybe just access to go through the entire document. So what we are trying to do is to highlight all the key information that is required for you as a motorist when you enter the CBD. You need to know what are the guidelines. When I enter the city, I know I need to park, pay, and display. It's not only that I have my dollar and I've paid. Have you displayed the receipt so that the parking marshal is aware of that the time has lapsed? Those kind of information is information people take for granted to say, I've paid my dollar. But the issue is, does the marshal know? How is the marshal going to know, especially in the instances where the network is down, which is something that is not of our own control? Then the system generated receipt is there to assist in those kind of situations. Those kind of information, do's and don'ts, where these issues of our washing vehicles on the street, that kind of information will be laid out clearly. People who are trying to run away from paying for parking but are now causing issues of obstruction or parking close to a ramp or in a sanitary lane, all that kind of information will be laid out clearly within the booklets that we are planning to share. Also, I think one of the key issues you find people saying is there's no signage, it's not written, but we are working to facilitate some signage that makes it easy for people to enter Bulawayo and they know, okay, this is a prepaid parking zone. It means let me look for someone to pay my parking. You find that we find a lot of people coming into the office with issues of, oh, I don't understand this area summary or something like this. We want to set up a call center to allow people to do this from the comfort of their office. I just arrived at my office. The marshal has shown me a ticket that says I'm owing $2. Can you please let me know where exactly this was? The system or any situation could have happen that you are not able to see it from the marshal, or I tried to explain my situation to whoever, and they've told me that I should come to the office, but currently I don't have the time, so I'm just trying to call to find out what is the way forward. That kind of information that we can distribute while you don't have to make the trip to the office will be done through the call center. So those are kind of some of the changes that we want to implement for information sharing and just for the operations to run a bit smoothly.
Maybe how about maybe a complaints mechanism system where always, because we are dealing with the public, there are always issues that are coming up. Maybe is there a way or a platform where someone, if like I said, they can't come to your office, where they can easily communicate or share feedback in terms of the situations that they encounter on the road?
Yes. Without making social media something that causes a lot of negative information sharing, we are always open to accept any kind of positive or negative feedback that people have to share. We will be activating responses based on any complaints or issues that people see on the street that need our support from the motorist point of view, because it's not always that we can foresee some of the challenges that motorists are going through, and we are always open to hearing from them to make the situation or the environment as conducive for everyone as possible.
Let me come to you, Mr. Swanda, in terms of the new initiative that you want to roll out, the prepaid packages that you are introducing. Maybe take us through the whole process and maybe speak to what do these packages entail and how, as motorists, we can make use of them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leslie. I think I need to emphasize that this initiative of packages answers many questions that have been asked before. Some will have been saying we used to have packing discs for a month, for a quarter. Can you bring those back? So if you look at the packages that we'll be introducing from the 1st of June, they answer to that, to say now you'll be able to pay for a week, you'll be able to pay for 2 weeks, or you'll be able to pay for a full month, right? And be able to enjoy parking anywhere within the city, but on designated areas. Let me say that, so that somebody does not think that they've got freedom of the city to park anyhow. You'll still be required to park at designated areas. And with that, let me say that some said we enjoyed discounts when we're having these discs. And these packages are also coming with discounts. You will discover that the monthly package will come with a discount which is up to 55% discount on the normal price that you could have paid if you're packing on a full day for the whole month. So if we were to pack on a full day for the whole month, it would cost you 198 USD for the month. But the package now is coming at $90. So there is a huge discount that we've put onto the packages, and the other package is coming at 50 for 2 weeks, right? And if you look at it, it will give you not 90, but that one will give you a total of 100 for the month, which comes to about 50%. And then the next package will for $30, which will be for a week. So these packages are bringing in one convenience. You no longer have to talk about having no change, being offline, your bank being offline. You are paying for them and you are using the service. And we were so happy and so glad that we can offer this. And we hope that those who spend most time in the CPD will utilize these packages because they've been created specifically for them. Although we know that the parking bays are not meant to be garages per se, where somebody parks the full day. But we've said in the absence of many places where people can park for full day at a reduced cost, let us bring these for the convenience of the public. And we hope that it will really bring convenience to the motoring public.
So how do I purchase these packages? And I think the other question that I have is on, I think Carolina spoke about paying and then displaying your parking ticket so that at least the marshal sees. But in this particular instance, if I purchase a package, what do I do? I receive a booklet that I have to maybe continuously display every time I park, or there's a different mechanism so that at least, yeah.
For you to get hold of the package, you have to go to the revenue hall. There's a counter designated for TTI for such payments. When you get there, you present your payment, and from there you start enjoying. Once you present the payment, they put your details into the system, okay, so that you may be able to enjoy it. Once it's on the system, the marshals will be able to tell that you are on the package. And also with that package, it will indicate to the marshal to warn you at a given point that your package is just about to expire. In the future, not now, in the future, we've asked TTI to work on it such that you can actually get a text message on your phone to say your package is just about to expire, so that you are not caught unaware when your package is expired. So this is the package that we're rolling out, and it will be there from the 1st of June. Currently, we're doing some trial runs. With that, we've got a package that we've been having where you could come and prepay for your fleet and then you draw down on that. We're hoping that in the near future we can improve that so that people can have a better convenience on their parking.
Okay, earlier on you spoke about challenges that the system has been having. I think one of the challenge which was highlighted was the issue of network. Maybe I'm already foreseeing a situation where I've bought a package and I get to a marshal and the network is down. And then because they can't see my account, so maybe they have I then have to pay again, considering that I would have a package, one of the packages, whether it's a weekly or a monthly one.
No, you don't have to pay. The marshal can capture your vehicle into the system. As soon as they get to a place where there's the network, it will then indicate that this vehicle is on prepaid. So it won't accumulate that on your vehicle at the end of the day. That will then fall off. So you are still covered even if you are on a place where it's off network.
Okay. And then I remember during the launch of the system, I think as we wrap up our discussion, you had indicated that you're also working on a system where someone can pay for the minutes that they've used. And I know you said that you improved just the system by allowing people to move from one pay to the other, so that at least they utilize their full dollar. But is there a system maybe that is coming where if I park for 10 minutes, I can pay for those 10 minutes, and then let's say I don't have any other business in town? I think it's still a concern among motorists where now maybe they are forced to utilize the whole dollar instead maybe of just if I want to do a small transaction in town, I want to go to the bank. I'm there for 10 minutes and I'm going back home. I can then maybe still utilize that the rest of that money later without having to lose it.
Okay. Our smallest unit is an hour. So we can't go beyond an hour because even on our statute, it's an hour. And also, that would mean a lot of challenges in terms of change. You pay with $1. How do I change you? How do I give change to you? So our smallest unit is an hour. What we then did was to add that flexibility that 1 hour can be used anyhow within the city, but we won't go beyond that because we're talking of a prepaid time, not a postpaid time. So that's the situation that we have.
But what are the advantages of? I know you spoke about discount, but what are the other advantages of this package over the pay-as-you-go system that we have been using so far?
As we have said, these packages will come with notification. Okay, that's one good thing when they tell you that your package is just about to expire. So it means that there's the convenience. And also one of the convenience is currently is somebody to be coming down the stairs, up the stairs from their workplaces to check if their 1 hour is up and things like that. That becomes a thing of the past. And also this will reduce the amount of transactions that one has to do. Thereby it's giving a bit of change. Yeah, because coming to pay always has got a cost with it. So by you paying once, it will give you that convenience. And we are yet to introduce other features. The software that is now available, it's not a cast in stone. You can customize it to say if there is one other feature that the residents feel that it's important, and we look at it, and from the business sense of things, it's a workable solution. We can also incorporate it on the system. So we're here to serve the public. So if the public have got other initiatives that they would want us to put into this system that we're now using, we're able to put that. We hope to become smarter. One of the issues that we've been discussing and drawing the flow charts on is on how we can implement probably a self-service situation where you get there, you park your car and you pay and everything, and when the marshal comes, probably they're just putting the ticket on your window. But this is for the future. These are some of the things that probably we hope that with the new package we may be able to do in the future. Yes.
All right. So thank you so much for joining us and for taking time to come and explain the new development. Hopefully, we'll be having more of these conversations in the near future as we continue to observe how the new parking system is operating. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Fix My City on Asake Online. My name is Leslie Moyo. Let's meet again in the next edition of the program.